It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
We're going to walk you through 4 things that you can do right now before the end of the year to make sure that you are prepared so that you can catch up on some of that procrastination. And the first one is really, really important. I think it's really important, Brian, just given how 2022 has played out so far, given how it feels right now out there in the economic environment. And it is, the first thing you can do is know your history.
Yeah, this is one, the biggest thing, because 2022 has been one of those years with a bear market has shown up. We have geopolitical things that are out there causing all kind of volatility. We have, of course, economic volatility. We have a political season that's going on. All these things have you thinking, maybe I need to drive myself into some form of action to react to all this. And we just want to remind you, hey, it's good to know the numbers, know your history, so you can actually know what's noise versus what's actionable.
Yeah, one of the things that we've shared a number of times on here is how quickly that markets can recover. You've seen this illustration before, but we went and looked at all the bear markets we've had since 1950, and we know that the average loss in a bear market in this country is about 35%, and on average, it lasts about 14 months. And we know that when it does turn, it tends to turn very, very quickly.
Now, you guys have seen this. We've shown this slide a lot. I love it because, and I think it's worth repeating the numbers, but we've taken this a completely different level, and I'll give Daniel a lot of credit to that. But you can see 1 month recovery from the bottom, 15%. Close to 15% is the 1 month recovery.
On average.
6 months in the future, on average, is close to 28%. 12 months, it's 44%. 24 months, close to 63%. It's really incredible, but we didn't stop there because y'all have seen this data, and we always like to go, we show you our work. We also go deeper than a lot of other people do with the research. So we want to show you, what does that look like if you put that in context of the range? We gave you the averages, but what's actually the range from the slowest recovery after the bottom of the market to the best recovery? We actually created a visualization so you can actually see that.
And so what's really interesting is we showed, like, for example, 1 month on average after the close of a bear market in the recovery, on average, the market makes back 15% in that first month. But if you look at the quickest return, the most fast recovery that we've seen since 1950, it was actually 27%. Well, even on the slow side, even the slowest recovery past the bottom of a bear market, it was a recovery of 5%. Now, fast forward, think about the first year after a market downturn. We say that on average, in the first year after a bear market, the market makes on average 44%. Well, even in the slowest recovery, the least quick uptick still made 21% over the next 12 months.
Well, I thought this slide was so powerful to me because I can remember the 2008, 2009 recovery, and it was much bigger than what the historical averages were. And I wanted to give some people some context to understand, well, how do you know where we are in the range? Is this going to be a slow recovery? Is this going to be a fast recovery? It's all on the energy that's created in the downturn. Remember, we've talked about whether you want to call it the pluck effect, the rubber band that if you want the visual of pulling the rubber band down, the further and farther away that you pull it to create the most energy is also going to power that recovery. So pay attention to the clues that are being given to us. If we have all of a sudden, if we're down 25% and we see the historical averages is 35% on a bear market, it wouldn't surprise me is that the last week or two of that bear market might have some intense drops, but the recovery comes back just to match the energy of that downturn.
And so we don't know where we are in this particular market. We don't know how bad it's going to be. And I know a lot of folks are watching this saying, guys, I don't think it's over. I see the statistics. I hear the averages. I don't think it's over. So we wanted to take it a step further, right? Not just looking at, okay, well, what happens after we hit the very bottom? We said, let's look at every time since 1950 that the market has gone into bear market territory, meaning it dropped 20%. What did the subsequent returns look like after that? Not just when we hit the bottom, but once we hit 20%, how did the market perform after that? And what you can see is that on average, after a 20% downturn, not after the close of a bear market, but after the 20% downturn, and some bear markets will have multiple, fits and starts. on average, still 1 year into recovery, market has made back about 14%.
Well, I thought this was inspired. There was a comment out there that said, hey, you guys are always talking about from the bottom of the bear market, but we don't actually know when that day is. Can you guys give us something? Because remember, finance in a lot of ways is like playing horseshoes, meaning that you actually get points for being close. You don't have to hit the ringer to actually win at the game. So I love the fact that we were inspired and we went and pulled the data on it. And it is interesting to understand is just the sheer fact that we've crossed the 20% down threshold actually is a pretty good indicator that we're going to have outsized returns in the coming years, because it's back to this whole pluck effect or pulling the rubber band down, is that as we bring down the actual value of the market, the recovery out is pretty powerful stuff. So, we always share that the S&P 500 on an annualized basis, depending upon which periods of time you're looking at, whether it's the 1957 when they added the full 500, stocks to the S&P 500, it's typically around 10.8 to somewhere between that 10 to 11%. Yep. Well, you can quickly look at this and say, wow, these numbers are much bigger than even those historic norms, and it's because of that 20% down. So just to give those who are listening to the podcast, 1 year, 14%, 3 years, 29%, 10 years, 122%. And you can quickly do the math. This is not mathematically perfect, but if you just take 122% divided by 10, that's 12.2%. We all know that it's actually going to be a little bit lower than that because of what is geometric mean and all the other things that go into it. But it's still very powerful to know. A good indicator is that there's actually a silver lining when we hit these periods of volatility.
So this is what we're saying. We don't know if we're at the bottom of this bear market. We don't know if the worst has already come, but we do know that right now, as we sit here today, the market is significantly lower than it was back at the beginning of the year. And if we look at the average, historically, that means that over the next 2, 3, 5, 10, 15 years, there's a really good chance that we could have solid performance inside of the financial markets. But Brian, you have people that keep telling you, yeah, but Brian, this time's different. Something's unique. No, I understand history. I understand the past. But there's something going on about this one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a quote. I mean, go ahead. We have a comment that we could bring up where people tell us we're in a new paradigm.
Yep.
This time is different, guys. You're missing that, and I chuckle a little bit when I hear this. So I think it's important. I'll just read this comment that was given to us on YouTube. It was like, "Thanks for your videos. I really appreciate your advice. I have to disagree with your position on this one, though. We haven't been here before. This is not necessarily an economic bubble bursting or a temporary financial issue, but a deep geopolitical change. There are some chances the world is changing in a time of confrontation, closed economies, and wars. I hope it's not the case, but it's certainly in the realm of possibilities. If this really the world changing, assuming long-term growth would be a mistake." I mean, he might as well said we're in a new paradigm.
This is a new paradigm. This time is different. We've not seen this before is basically what this person's echoing.
So my comment back to him, if you saw this on YouTube, you saw this, is like, so you're saying we're in a new paradigm with a question mark. This is another indicator I look for in market cycles. If enough folks are saying this, we are getting close to capitulation and the bottom, I will keep buying. And the thing I always, because it's so interesting, we do a lot of studio tours. And we had a client come through, this is probably a month at this point, because I've told this story already, where he's like, man, I wanted to test you guys. I went back and listened to your shows from 2008, 2009, and guess what? I was surprised to hear y'all are saying the exact same things, but you just sound more confident now. And I think the reason that he could say that about the confidence is that, yes, I have been through a number of downturns now. I came out of college in the 90s, was managing money in the 90s, and I have been through the dot-com bubble. I've been through those, the whole pigs when we went through the debt crisis. I've been through the Great Recession. I've been through all these different things, and even the savings and loans crisis of the 90s. I've experienced all these things, and I'm even a kid of the 70s where I can remember when we were worried about nuclear war during the Cold War. There's all these things that there are intersections with the politics. I'll just say the politics, the geopolitical stuff that's going on with countries. And look, as long as human nature has the ability to keep growing and expanding, we're going to be okay. That's why I have this optimism for the future, is because I just believe in humans. I mean, if you talk about law of accelerating returns, we're actually through innovation changing the world at a faster pace, not a slower pace. If you think about how the world's changing from a technology, economic standpoint, from your ability to invest, it's actually improved. It's all getting better. So don't be negative just because, yes, there's some troubling things with the political world. There's troubling things with the geopolitical world. There's troubling things in the economic cycle. That's kind of normal. And I don't want you to get sidetracked just because you've started investing in the last 10 to 15 years and you're not used to this stuff.
So we know that past performance does not guarantee future performance, but we can learn a lot from the past, and we can learn a lot from understanding how markets have behaved and how resilient they've been.